The Hedgeless Horseman here. It's October the 9th, 2024. I guess it's technically October the 8th, still in North America. First of all, thanks to the sponsors. Let's look at markets. I didn't follow the markets much today, but I saw silver was down, I think, like 4% or something. Excuse me. Like 4%, and gold was, I don't know, down 1.6%. I think oil took a beating. Um, yeah, and I mean, as per usual, you see complaining on Twitter that juniors suck and metals suck, and here we go again and all that. I gotta say, I would really, 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 really recommend becoming a stock picker and not just pure trading sardine better, or junior shitco speculator, and it's like where you're only waiting for sentiment to change, because this is still a very high gold price, and if you have, I don't know, producers or companies that are doing work, I mean, in my opinion, you should be excited about the company, the value in the company, the potential news you expect out of a company, the potential, I don't know, cash flow, whatever. It's like, assume that gold and silver is gonna stay at these levels forever, and don't bet on the metals to save you. Yes, there's gonna be a huge lift in sentiment um, sooner or later, and everything junior related is gonna go up for sure. But still, just waiting for that, and it's like, nobody knows when that's gonna happen. It could happen tomorrow, could happen months from now, could happen actually. I mean, literally, could take years. Maybe we're gonna be in a stealth bull for the next 2 years. Who knows? I mean, that's the thing. I wanna personally. I do like the idea of having an all-weather type kind of portfolio. Again, you're betting on the fundamentals of the company. You're not betting, oh, I'm only gonna make money if gold and silver goes even higher and sentiment turns around. Otherwise, I have no idea how I'm supposed to make money, because the things I own, I'm not excited about it. The management is crap. The projects are crap. They don't have any real shot at becoming something real. Let's say. I mean, that's really what I like. I mean, I'm not stressed at all. Last week or two, well, I've been doing other stuff as well. I've been to conference and been traveling in Europe a bit. Uh, I like that. I mean, I'm not worried about my portfolio at all. It's like when metal prices go up or down 1-2% per day, it doesn't change anything in terms of the value of the company. It's like minuscule, like 0.1% or whatever. Since it's the value of a company is obviously long term, intrinsic value. It doesn't mean that share prices doesn't change, but it's like they change every day. They go up and down. I mean, tomorrow we might have metals going up, and the day after that, metals going down. I just gotta say, it's like, and I knew that from the beginning that I didn't really. Well, I think I tried, short term trading and stuff like that. Wasn't for me. But that's what I didn't like about poker, for example. I mean, the money is never working for you in poker. The only time you could have, you could be making money is if you're playing, actively playing, and in that case, I played multiple tables at the same time, very stressful. When it comes to investing, it's like, okay, I find this cheap stock, I buy it, and expect to someday in the future I'm gonna be up on it. And in the meantime, I don't really need to do anything except see that it's not overvalued, or that the case is intact, yada yada yada. And it's like all the time is really spent on finding, if there are even better cases out there, or if one of your cases you own is actually better than you thought, and you should have more money. And then it's just waiting. I mean, that's I haven't traded much at all last several months, I was gonna say. I changed, the hodl portfolios. They don't change much really. It's like latest additions would be, and I think almost only the, well, okay, maybe 2, 3 additions actually last 3 months, and that would be like Integra, well, Florida Canyon, Cerro de Pasco, and West Red Lake. And I sprinkled up in some Next Gold and some other stuff, Borealis, yada yada yada. Well, most of the positions are relatively small. Integra, Florida Canyon is actually quite large. It's in the top 5. But yeah, then there's only waiting really. So I don't care too much, but again, I see on Twitter like people losing their minds. I mean, I literally see some people complain every single day that when metals are down, anytime metals are down and the juniors are down, or even if metals are up and the juniors don't go up enough, it's like they're complaining. No wonder you're gonna be miserable. You take everything super personal, like it really matters if or I should say, who cares what happens in a day? Who cares what happens in a week, in a month? This is a marathon. The market average is 9% per year over the long term. You know how small small the return is per month. You could barely see it, kinda. But you know how it is. The most impatient ones, they expect the most in terms of returns. They can never come quick enough. They can never be big enough. Yada yada. And in the meantime, since the market doesn't necessarily work like that, except when we are in a mania or whatever. And again, nobody knows when that's gonna come. We just know that it's gonna come. So in the meantime, you can only wait. That's the thing. So if you want to look at every daily movement and take that personal and get depressed every other day at least, I don't see I don't see why that should be a good idea, if you know what I mean. Well, I'm gonna try to get through quite several companies. I should already be sleeping actually, but I thought I would do a update, and I'm gonna try to be relatively quick. Some news. Hannan Metals. Hannan completes IP geophysical survey. Large copper gold system confirmed at Previsto, Peru. Highlights. Extremely large and multiple copper gold targets. The first geophysical induced polarization IP survey coupled with field mapping and soil sampling has confirmed a 6 by 6 kilometer large copper gold porphyry epithermal AU mineral system characterized by 7 high priority targets that are now being evaluated for drilling. Figure 3. 2 porphyry targets have been identified within a 5 kilometer long and up to 1 kilometer wide intrusive trend. That sounds pretty big. 5 epithermal targets. A significant advancement this season is the identification of 5 epithermal gold targets that correlate with extensive gold in soil anomaly Previsto. Ricardo Herrera porphyry copper 3D survey. Geophysical survey crew already moved to the next survey area. Ricardo Herrera within the BLN target area. An initial 28 line kilometer offset array 3D IP service mapping the outcropping Miocene age or calc-alkalic porphyry target where copper mineralization on surface coincides with strong phyllic and intermediate argillic alteration over 800 by 250. Michael Hudson, Executive Chairman and CEO, states the footprint of Previsto mineral system now covers 6 by 6 kilometers and consists of 2 alkalic porphyry targets and 5 epithermal targets. The IP geophysical survey has been fundamental to refine our understanding and comprehend the scale of the mineral system that we are uncovering. Field work is now focused on providing further information on these selected targets for drill permitting. At the same time, the IP survey crew has mobilized to the next target, BLN, located 25 kilometers to the southwest. BLN contains 2 porphyry targets, Ricardo Herrera and Sortilegio, and an epithermal system, Vista Alegre, over a 9 kilometer strike. Yeah, I mean, you can read, there's a bunch of technical stuff, but the way I look at things, I'm not the most technical guy. I'm not a geologist. I'm not a mining engineer. I try to. Well, I think one of my strengths is that I, can, have a way of at least spotting what is, important and not, because there's a shit ton of information, typically in a news release. And again, as investors, we don't need to be. Well, the idea is good risk reward. That's the whole idea. I mean, that's why not every geologist is a multimillionaire mining investor. You know what I mean. It's like not every mining engineer is a millionaire in the mining space, and not every geologist is a millionaire from investing. They're two separate things. For sure, there are good geologists that are poor investors, and good mining engineers that are good investors. And I think probably some of the best investors are not even geologists nor mining engineers. But it's obviously the fun part is that you can meet some people who believe that well you don't know, you can't say anything about junior investing because you're not a geologist or whatever. It's like, I mean, that's bullshit. It just tells you that they don't have a clue really. And again, doesn't mean that every geologist or mining engineer can't invest. I'm just saying that it's like, as investors, you're not supposed to be well, I'm not going to say you're not supposed. You don't need to be an expert of everything. You need to be very good at risk reward and how the market functions, kind of. So yeah, I mean, the case for Hannan is very much intact and just proceeding. They have news on other stuff. Valente, the application for yeah, okay. San Martin, the environmental permit declaration was received. Okay, the authorization to initiate activities have been delayed or okay. So it looks like San Martin. That's the Yogmek JV. That's where they're looking for Kupferschiefe, aka Kamoa-Kakula type sediment-hosted copper with the big Yogmek company from Japan. Obviously, potential to be a company maker. Otherwise, Yogmek wouldn't be. I mean, if there wasn't billion-dollar potential, Yogmek wouldn't be involved. What the chance of success is, I don't know. The tricky thing with these sediment-hosted deposits seems to be, good continuity. But there's obviously a chance that San Martin could be a company maker, and that's again now that's kinda in the. I mean that's like an ace up the sleeve kind. I mean Hannan, since they 100% own the Previsto targets. I mean that's their main focus, and this is going on behind the background. But again, since we know who cares, which is Yogmek, there's fat potential, it's just high risk. Cerro Rolando, Chile, Hannan is in the process of permitting a small drill program to test a shallow conductor at Cerro Rolando project. Yeah, I mean, I like targets like this. I mean, it's basically, if I remember correctly, this is the relatively near surface target where they plan to. I mean, geophysics suggests that there can be one of those enriched blankets, conductors 10 to 50 meters thick, open to the east and west. It directly overlays. So I mean, they're going to be for 100 meter deep hole to test the shallow conductor. I mean, this is just crazy good risk reward. They can, in their minds, they're gonna be able to test the Cerro Rolando target with one hole. So it's like that one hole should tell them. Their belief is that one hole should tell them if this is a porphyry system, if that is indeed, supergene enriched blanket that overlies porphyry. If they drill that conductor and they get whatever, something barren, something of no interest, then they know, okay, that conductor is not representing a supergene enriched blanket. If they do hit the blanket, then they know the target is live already. Imagine if you could test a bunch of, let's say, porphyry with supergene, potential supergene mineralization with one hole at a time. Oh, Jesus. Personally, I would set up a company that could do that. Like I can fund one hole, and if you hit it, it's like, oh Christ, it is a supergene blanket. This might actually be a porphyry, or this is probably a porphyry. So the risk reward, I love this kind of stuff. I mean, they don't talk too much about it because they're gonna drill and kill it with one hole. But again, it's like you never know. These are very smart guys. So they obviously think there is a percentage chance that this is indeed a supergene blanket overlaying a porphyry. All samples were yeah. So let's look at some slides. The Valiente project, that's the big one. And Previsto is the one that's talked most about in this news release. So again, they basically have a fat district. Previsto North, Previsto East, Previsto Central, Divisoro, Rica Herrera, which they're gonna be covering soon, Sortilegio. So I mean, again, I don't think. Let's put it like this. Do you need to, like, oh, what does it say there? What's the actual numbers there? Okay, what does this say? Yada yada yada. No, okay, these are smart people. A lot of insider ownership. They've proven that they're very good at discovering stuff with their Mawson Gold company, and actually Mawson Finland as well. They're legit people. They're people with, who get Pierre Lassonde backing, so they're smart. Okay, what's the takeaway, kinda? I mean, and this story hasn't changed. It's just getting more crystallized, let's say, in terms of targeting. The simple thing is that it looks like they have a shit ton of potential. There appears that they might have found a new potential porphyry district. I mean, there's copper and gold all over the place. Their targets are huge. They have, again, just in the Previsto area, 5 epithermal targets, 2 big porphyry targets, and that's not all. They have the, Jogmec JV. They have Vista Alegre. They have Sortilegio. They have Ricardo Herrera. I mean, it's just a laundry list of big targets. So okay, let's just fast forward, 2 years. Give them 2 years, let's say. Given the scale and all that, how smart they are, it's like, is there a guarantee that they're, gonna be proving up an untouched porphyry district here in Peru? No, there's no guarantees. But if they do, that could be worth a shit ton of money, obviously. And there might be, they basically staked a small country, so it's like they would have the, if you have a porphyry, you have, as they believe, epithermal targets as well, epithermal systems that go with the porphyry. So who knows? They might have several deposits of several types, basically. So yeah, I said this before. I think Hannan has some of the highest absolute potential there is, but it's going to take time. They're obviously, I assume, going to need to raise money again sooner or later just to test it. But at the end of the day, let's say they raise $5-10 million or something. They do a lot of testing. Okay, maybe they find something. Maybe they make a porphyry discovery. Maybe this becomes one of the best performing stocks. Maybe they don't. Maybe they raise more money a year from now, and then they make a discovery. Maybe Yogmek makes a discovery over at San Martin. Maybe they hit at the Cerro Rolando target in Chile. They drill one hole. It's like I have no idea what's gonna happen here. I just know there's good people involved. They're looking for elephants basically, and they have a lot of potential elephants. I mean, this is a scale bar, so this is like 50 kilometers. And I don't know, 20 kilometers wide, and they have, even more stuff. So I'm just saying, I mean, they basically staked a small country, found a new porphyry district. Could some good stuff happen here? Yeah, I think so. Do you need to, I don't know, have precision? It's like, I don't even know what's the market cap right now. 68 million. I mean, let's face it, it's not the cheapest one at face value, but if you include all their targets, the people involved, their backers, the tight share structure, JV with Jogmec and all of that. I mean, obviously, if they obviously have $1 billion potential just from a geological standpoint. Do I know that? No. Do I think it's a good bet? Do I like the risk reward? Yeah, I do, because if they do end up, if what looks that it could be there is there, this is gonna look very cheap one day. That's it. I don't know what the exact chance of success is. I just know that it's putting some price obviously on each and every target, but again, given the amount of targets, so I don't know what that comes out to, per target. Now, I'm not 100% sure how remote this is, so it might be one of those cases where it's like, well, if you make a decent epithermal discovery, maybe that's not really worthwhile. I don't know, except if it's kind of district, for example. But I would say I'm guessing that the porphyry potential is the main target, obviously, because I mean those can be multi-billion-dollar projects, and I mean they even build projects way at 4,000 or 5,000 meters up in the Andes if they find a good big porphyry discovery. Simple as that. They're kind of, I mean, that's the news release. Yes, delay at San Martin. Chile property is, did they say Q1? Okay, final drill approval from the authorities anticipated during October 2024. So they can be drilling that soon. It's like if they miss, well, I mean, we sure would like them to hit, but it cost them one hole, and I don't think the market is even focusing on this. So I see this as a extremely cheap option. Another one. I mean, just to wrap up, I mean, this is just a good high risk, high reward story. That's my opinion. I don't worry about this case. Again, that's what I like. That's the type of cases I like to have, where it's like you don't need to worry about every news release or what the management team is gonna do, yada yada. It's like good people, skin in the game. They're gonna be thinking about this stuff 24/7, 7 days a week, and they're gonna make better decisions than I could, etc., etc. So I have no real problem of if I couldn't sell my Hannan shares for 2 years, I don't really see a problem with that. I think that's probably maybe the best way to go about it. So I don't see that I need to be paranoid and look over my shoulder and consider too much about how do I trade this, for example. Another one, Valkea Resources, met them in Stockholm. I also participated in the private placement. I don't do too many pure explorers nowadays, but I think this is a quite convincing case. So they have JVs with Kinross and Rupert. That's obviously good to see, but they also have 100% owned projects. And the thing is, I'm gonna get to that. But some pretty recognizable people involved here. It's like maybe, I mean, former director of corporate development at Western Copper and Gold. That's a pretty big company. Craig Perry, famous, Vizsla famous basically. He's with the, I think he's the founder of Inventa Capital, chairman of Vizsla Silver and director of Eskay Resources, Vizsla Copper and Surge Copper. So I mean, fingers in a lot of pies, but he has some fat success under his belt, obviously connected. Mark Bennett, some people probably knows about him from the discovery of Noah, the $1 billion success, the nickel success, two-time winner of the Association of Mining Exploration. Anyway, I mean, there's some good backing. As far as I understand, there's some good investors that got into the placement, not dumb money. I don't know the names, but that's the takeaway. Stock is super tight. They also have George Salamis, who's now with Integra Resources, chairman of Integra Resources. He's a strategic advisor, and actually, it's funny. George Salamis was, first of all, executive chairman of Integra Gold, which was sold to Eldorado Gold Corporation. I really like George. Jollies, with a wealth of technical and strategic expertise in the central Lapland district, worked as vice president of Riddarhyttan Resources AB and advancing what is known as the Kittilä mine until its sale to Agnico Eagle 2006. Okay, Kittilä mine, multi-million ounce gold deposit, cash cow for Agnico Eagle. I mean, a true company maker. So here you can see Director of Management's S2, this Australian company, institution, yada yada, high net worth, other. Look at the trading. It looks super tight. Market cap, I don't know what it is exactly now. Let's see. I think it ticker is OS. 40 million CAD. They might have 3, so it's like 11 million CAD of market. Enterprise value, I think that's really cheap. Here you have the flagship project, Pana, with the Arni Valkea target. You can see some highlighted hits here. I mean, those are some juicy hits, and not too far away from the 9 million ounce Agnico Eagle deposit, which again, George Salamis, was involved with the discovery and de-risking of that. So he obviously has, knows something about the Central Lapland Greenstone Belt geology, gold in Finland, yada yada yada. So yeah, I mean, you can look there. I think they've done a great job with the presentation. It's a super new story, by the way. I mean, the new story. They used to be Outback Gold and Silver, but the new story, Valkea, with the share consolidation, with their new Finnish projects and all that. So this story is, I think, just a few weeks old actually. So this is probably not on a lot of people's radar. And you can see again, it's like, 92,000 shares traded. I mean, that's okay, I guess, actually. CEO even buying in the open market at 47. So I took I'm not gonna say a big stab, but it's like slightly above my. I mean, it's bigger than a punt. Let's put it like that. Yes, put it like that. Bigger than a punt. But let's just look at the probably a bit. Pana, Northern License. Sorry for rushing through this, but like I'm tired of selling. But I thought I would. You can do your own research and all that. Again, it's like I don't do buy and sell recommendations, but maybe, if you, I don't know, get a sense of why I invested, maybe it's something for you and you can have it in a diversified portfolio. Anyway, Pana and Kittilä geochemistry. So here, this is the 100% owned stuff that they have, the main targets. Here you can see the till sample anomaly, and here's Kittilä, and this ended up being at least 9 million ounces. I mean, that stacks up pretty good. I mean, there's no guarantees, obviously, but just looking at footprint. And this also, I mean, makes me think about, First Nordic. I liked how they also had a slide where they show the Pathfinder anomaly they have at Påbacken and Storjuktan and compared to the Barsel anomaly. I mean, the anomalies they have that are basically almost undrilled. They're at least as big or bigger than the Barsele anomaly. So here you have something similar going on again to get people, give a sense. It's like, is this material or not? Because otherwise you see till samples, like, who cares about till samples? Yeah, I mean, because you never know. You never know what could be at depth. And they've already tested it. I mean, S2 tested it. I think they stopped when COVID hit and stuff, and it made it almost impossible to work. So anyway, Greenfields discovery, regional ionic leach, soil geochemistry followed by basotil drilling, yada yada. Here you can see some holes as a result, 65.4 meters, 1.5 grams per ton, including 4 meters of 18, 20 meters of 4, 16 of 2.7, 9.5 of 5.2 grams per ton. Mineralization remains open, down dip and a long strike. So I mean, they basically seems they hit in basically every hole they drilled. Not that every single hole had a flashy highlight intercept, but you have some good bulk stuff, narrow high grade, bulk stuff. Actually, somewhat high grade bulk stuff. Bulk stuff, including high grade, including really bonanza stuff. As far as I understand, it's a quite complex system, and what this is going to look like at the end of the day, who knows? I mean, they've only drilled it down to, they've tested it down to 400 meters, but it's like, do a bunch of infilling here over 1.3 kilometer strike. How much is that going to be? Don't know. I haven't done the numbers, but it's still open. As you can see, it's basically wide open, and obviously you could do some infill drilling here. So that's basically what sold me. I was gonna say that this is already a discovery. It's just a matter of how big it is. I mean, they already have a 1.3 kilometer footprint, wide open at depth. They have a parallel trend basically to the east, and here you have arsenic. Actually, that's the pathfinder to use it. Barsel, or one of the pathfinders. I mean, this is a huge pathfinder anomaly. So what I see is that, okay, well, they've already hit, they already have something, they already have low hanging fruit, we already know it's a discovery, we already know it has potential, and you see the amount of, let's say, smart guys that join this venture, let's say, who are behind it. So yeah, do I think there's potential for them to throw up a gold mine here? Yes. And even with dilution, if you have market cap of 14 million, yes. Let's say, I don't know how much they would need to raise to make this into hey, this is actually a standalone gold mine. But even if you dilute the market cap a few 100%, at the end of the day, if you have let's say, $1 billion gold mine, I think the current price looks very cheap. And they have JVs, and they have some more targets and all that. But again, it's like what I like is the probable additional drill success here, that they already they've snagged something. They know there's a gold system here, obviously. Footprint is already quite large. Question is how big it is. Big is it? I don't know. If this turns into let's say, a significant deposit, obviously you could make a lot of money at the current market, from the current market cap. So for me, at this valuation, it looks like a no-brainer. Let's go to Eskay Mining. Eskay boots on the ground campaign yields multiple new high-grade gold targets for drilling in 2025. and SK has been kind of quiet. Obviously, I haven't talked about them much either. 2024, and now they're doing cheap boots on the ground kind of stuff. Might as well, right? I mean, I think that's smart. I mean, the geological potential is not going anywhere, and if you don't get much for let's say the results, etc., it's like, okay, might as well sit on your hands. I mean, obviously the big value in Eskay Mining is their 90% ownership of the Eskay Creek district. And Skina is obviously, I think they're over $1 billion right now. I mean, that's probably almost most certainly going to end up being a fat mine. I think it's like 5 million ounces AU equivalent or something. And Eskay Mining has a much bigger position, but it totally lost steam. Story totally lost steam. Obviously, they raised a bunch of money. The results were not as good as we all hoped when they drilled between TV and Jeff. But I mean, if we're talking just pure potential, I still think Eskay Mining has one of the highest potential land packages of any junior, and this news release kind of confirms it. I mean, notable high-grade spot and float vein samples. Like, okay, 200 grams per ton gold. Okay, nice, and copper and silver. So I mean, these are bonanza grades, obviously. This is from C10 Vermilion. Highlights from Team Zone 24 auction. Bonanza grade gold. Significant less copper. Bismuth noted by abundant more samples. A stacked sequence of flat veins is present. I guess that's maybe feeder veins. Given the limited amount of time spent at C10 Vermilion and Team Zone, SK's team thinks that more discoveries of high-grade veins in southern part of the property is likely if more time is dedicated for prospecting. Therefore, additional work is strongly recommended. Torrey scored 107. Cumberland. Okay, could potentially extend beyond the area that was drilled. SK's team recommend be retested by establishing drill pads southeast. Yeah, I mean, you can basically go through this, and it's like you know this if you remember the presentation of. I think they have it in the presentation still where you have those Bleg sample results, and it's like 3 10-kilometer long trends of anomalous Bleg samples. So it's like there's a shit ton of stuff there, and I mean, like I wrote in, I think it was at least my first big piece on No, it was actually an update piece, I think. Where they basically concluded that they believe they found like 4 different types of, or 4 different ages of EMS mineralization, if I remember correctly, 4 different sequences. So imagine that you have an area where there's like been at least 4 different episodes over, who knows? I mean, each episode could be, well, I don't exactly know how long a VMS episode could be, but let's say 4 different ages where there's been VMS mineralization spilling up on the paleo seafloor. So like 4-dimensional. It's like, okay, first time, okay, you get a bunch of black smokers spitting stuff out, stopped, get covered with mud or whatever, maybe a volcanic eruption covered by basalt. Then a new event, a new layer of VMS pods here and there, and then a new event, and then a new event. So like, is Eskay Creek gonna be the only mineable VMS district if we could see through the earth over at Eskay Creek? Highly doubt it. So I think there's a shit ton of potential. It's just tricky with some of these VMS exploration, because like, we hit a small pod. I mean, look at the cross sections and stuff for Eskay Creek. I mean, I think they made the discovery at like hole 109 or something, if I remember correctly. So 109 holes to make the Eskay Creek discovery. So obviously it's not like, oh, hey, they didn't make another Eskay Creek type discovery yet, so there's no potential in this land package. No, of course that's not true. They haven't even, they've tested a fraction of a fraction basically of this entire land package. I hope, I'm surprised that like Skeena hasn't taken them over yet, I was gonna say. I bet that anybody that would want to buy Skeena would want to buy Eskay Mining's land package, because again, with a land package this big with so many targets, that deserves a lot of drilling. A major company could start to basically hit every one of these targets with the drill bit. So yeah, it's one of those frustrating cases where it's like a junior knows they have a lot of potential, but the story disappointed in the few recent years, so it's like everybody's kind of fed up. There's maybe the support has waned, hard to raise money, so it's like, okay, you have all this potential, but you haven't been able to raise much money or wanted to raise much money to basically prove it. But yeah, that's, I don't know if they're gonna raise money anytime soon or anything like that, but what's the actual 36 million? Yeah, again, if we're talking pure geological potential, and given that they've already hit the TV and Jeff, even though they haven't made that into a barn burner, again, with price going down so much more, I would say, than the potential within the district, I'm starting to kind of like SK Mining again, despite the fact that the carpet bombing campaign over it between TV and Jeff didn't hit much, or no bullseye really. They hit stuff which they hit smoke, let's put it like that, which doesn't fall from the sky, but it was not the company maker that we hoped. But at this price, yeah, I think it's time to put SK Mining back on the watch list again. Headwater announced real plans for TJ Project Nevada. I talked about this on K Report recently, so you can just listen to that. Yeah, but actually, I'm not gonna go through all the companies I had in mind. It's getting too late, so I might as well talk a bit about Headwater. Obviously, a sister company of Inflection Resources, for example, which is getting incredibly interesting right now. So this is about the TJ project, 100% owned, one of the newer projects. Drilling permits have been received and plans finalized for a maiden drill program projected to consist of an initial 2,000 meters. Drilling is scheduled to commence in fall 2024 and be fully funded by Headwater. Drill program objective: this maiden drill program will test multiple targets for high-grade epithermal veins at depth beneath outcropping silica sinter and down dip of historic shallow drill holes that encounter broad zones of silicification and epithermal alteration ending in anomalous gold mineralization. Recently acquired CSAMT geofixers have identified a number of high-probability drill targets vertically below a mapped silica sinter exposure at surface. Perfect, that's where you expect them to be. Several large areas of elevated resistivity have been mapped at depth, which Headwater geologists interpret as a silicification related to potential feeder structures. Detailed geological mapping and rock chip sampling has identified a new target area containing subcropping quartz vein boulders with epithermal textures and anomalous gold values 1 kilometer south of the main sinter target area. I typically, when I really trust the management, I typically put most emphasis on the comments where they basically sum up. It's like, this is how you're supposed to think, kinda. We are very excited for this upcoming drill program at our TJ project. Following the results of our recent CSAMT survey, this project has immediately moved to the top of our list for self-funded drilling. The project shows remarkable similarities to our Spring Peak project, also in Nevada, where we've discovered a new high-grade epithermal vein system. Like Spring Peak, TJ hosts a well-preserved silica sinter with a strong trace element signature, surface underlain by a high resistivity zone directly below. Shallow historic drilling encounters anomalous gold, but did not drill deep enough to test for high-grade veins in the projected boiling horizon at depth. The company has a strong treasury following this recent strategic financing with Centerra Gold, allowing us to advance our mandate of creating additional shareholder value through aggressive high-impact exploration. The TG program represents an excellent opportunity to pursue this mission in our focus area. Nevada, I mean, this is again what I like about these guys and the way they're going about it. I mean, 2,000 meters is not a huge amount, doesn't cost that much, but they will be testing several different CSAMT targets. They already know, rock chip samples, so they know there's gold and silver kicking around, and obviously up in the higher parts of one of these systems they're kind of expected to be barren because all the gold has been dumped out already. So it's like, okay, for 2,000 meters worth of drilling, we're going to test this target. They're going to test several potential zones where there might be boiling zone type mineralization that goes up. So these holes will test too. This will test, well, it's probably not gonna, who knows if the grades are high enough up here. But yeah, so 150 meters below center, that's where the, boiling zone could start basically. And this hole is gonna be testing whatever might be here. I mean, this again, I mean, you can tell that this is a company where management owns a crap ton of stock. They're extremely smart. They're extremely conscious of the value of money because they're spending their own money, basically. So yeah, again, this is how I would basically set up a junior explorer if I had one. Have a team that's just generating targets, and in this case this is another Nevada target, so success has the highest value added to it here, and you don't need to find a world-class deposit to make a deposit in this part of the world, obviously. And yeah, who knows, maybe it's like, okay, we drill 2,000 meters, we make another discovery. And I mean, the timing is somewhat curious, as Centerra Gold basically got in shortly before this news release. So it's like, who knows, maybe Centerra Gold looked at their portfolios, like, especially like TJ, and everybody's on board. It's like, yep, we gotta test TJ. But at the same time, I mean, their new projects, Hot Creek and what's the other one? I don't remember the other one, but they're up to, I think, 12 targets or 12 projects again. And again, just look at what they did. It's like, okay, they started off with, what did they have when Newcrest came in? Maybe 10 projects. They were able to get Newcrest to do an earn-in agreement on 4 of them. That's pretty impressive to get Newcrest interested in at least 4 projects. And now Newmont took them over, and obviously the threshold for success goes a lot higher, and there might be in some shenanigans, I don't know, because Nevada Gold Mines, Nevada, I've heard some rumblings about that. It's like it might be complicated for them. Anyway, they're stuck with Spring Peak and Lodestar, and that's already a discovery. Obviously, they've already hit Bonanza stuff there. So Headwater actually is, they're already a discovery story funded by Newmont over Spring Peak, and then they get Centerra Gold, another major mining company, to fund them for the 100% owned stuff at the other project. So it's like, what more could you ask for? I think they have like 4 million in cash. enterprise value of 11 million CAD. I mean, it's just, to me, this is an absolute joke. Yeah, I mean, mathematically, it's almost impossible that Headwater is in shape. Kind of what I've been saying about Inflection Resources for ages as well. And then all of a sudden, it's like, whoa, oh, they have so many targets. All of a sudden, they're onto something, and it starts going higher. I mean, I think the market is a joke still in Inflection Resources, but that's how it functions right now. Everybody is discounting potential, in my opinion, way too much. I mean, it's basically okay. You have to basically show us I dare to buy when it is a confirmed tier 2 discovery or something. I mean, it's ridiculous the bets you get, kinda. And in Headwater's case, I mean, if they have Centerra backing them, Newcrest is funding Spring Peak, so it could be one of those cases where it's like, well, good luck trying to get a position. Like Inflection, I mean, it's not easy to get a position in Inflection, and they're fully funded by AngloGold, so you have to make up your mind. It's like, okay, are you okay with assay risk and believe in the process, where it's like you're a long-term investor because it's very hard to trade it, for example, and you have to kind of build a position over a long time if you're going to put in some serious money. So you have to bet on management team. It's like a fire and forgets type story, and these ones, both Headwater and Inflection, has the skin in the game and the smarts of the management team to back that up. That, yes, I would say that again, those guys are working 24/7, 7 days a week. They've already gotten like 3 major mining companies to bet on them, basically. So what more proof do you need that these guys are top notch? And still you can have Headwater 15 million, you can see some other crap whatever 10 million market cap, and they have no good backing, no legitimate targets, for example, no Newmont, no Centerra Gold. So I mean, if you think that 10 million shitco is cheaper than Headwater, then you really don't know what risk reward is, I was gonna say. Well, before I leave this one, I just want to look at this. This was linked. I think I have it saved also, but it's like somebody linked this in the Inflection Resources channel. This is the KDA East alteration. So just to, I mean, again, give a sense of why they started follow-up drilling immediately, why the team is excited, why the stock has started to react. It might be hard to see, but here's the inner propylitic zone. That's the dark green here. And this is basically the ore zone. So the inner propylitic is the first shell out from the ore zone. So the drilling hole 20 for Inflection Resources is believed to have hit this green here. In that case, I mean, not every system is the same, and you don't know what the exact whatever grades and stuff is gonna be, yada yada yada. Still, they might have, let's say hole 20 went in and hit this. So it's maybe, I don't know, could be like whatever, 200 meters from the actual high grade or higher grade potassic core. So that's how close they could be to making a discovery. They could literally be in this green area here, and now they're obviously looking for the core of it. So they've never been closer to make a potential discovery. Anyway, that's it. I gotta go to sleep. And not investing advice, consider me biased. I own shares of all companies mentioned, I think. Some are banner sponsors, twice biased, not buy and sell recommendation. Don't invest money you cannot afford to lose. Never bet everything on a single story. Assume I might buy or sell shares at any point in time, so you have to again make up your own mind, and because again you have to understand why why you're investing in something, what your time frame is, your risk tolerance and time frame and all of that. Obviously, the more margin of safety, the more I would lean to allowing a higher position size. Where's the highest risk, highest reward kind of plays. Again, given how cheap many of them are, you don't need to own a lot for that position to. If you forgot about the position for the next 3 years, if they make a discovery or prove up or prove that they have a discovery, whatever, some of the valuations in out of the companies I mentioned, I mean they and slap on a better sentiment environment. Yes, there's definitely companies here that have 10 to 20, 30 bagger potential, but that could take like 3 years, 3 to 5 years. Just saying. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye bye.